When you think about a turning point in history, you probably think of the invention of the car or plane, or maybe the creation of modern medicine or plastic, or even environmental destruction. What you probably don't know, however, was all of these historically influential moments branch from a small town that's influence literally and figuratively shook the globe. This place is Spindletop, Texas, and the day is January 10th, 1901. Let's go back to 1892, when an amateur geologist named Petroleum Higgins speculated there was oil underneath the naturally forming salt domes, which was met with skepticism from experts. That is, until Higgins and Austrian engineer Anthony Lucas convinced Pennsylvanians John Galley and James Guffey to fund the drilling. As drilling in October 1900 began, things seemed bleak. They reached a depth of 1,020 feet, and still nothing. Then, on January 10th, 1901, everything changed. The Lucas geyser shot natural gas and petroleum 150 feet in the air. A newspaper from the time said, "All who saw it said it was oil, and conservative estimates say it has already yielded 5,000 barrels of oil, and steps are at once taken to save it by throwing up a levee." This well is phenomenal for Texas, as none of the wells in the Corsicana district are spouters, and this will, no doubt, equal any ever struck in the best fields in the United States. These estimates were mere fractions of what this well would supply. This lone drill began to produce more oil than all other drills in the United States combined. 100,000 barrels per day. Of course, it is too early to predict the value of this discovery. As a matter of fact, oil was discovered some time ago, but its importance was minimized. No one knew at the time that this moment would be seen as one of the most significant moments in history. No one could have predicted how influential this day would become. More than 1,500 oil companies sprouted around the United States after the discovery of Spindletop in Texas, most notably the Gulf Oil Corporation, the Magnolia Petroleum Company, and the Texas Company. During the early 1900s, the wave of oil drilling expanded all the way to California. The mass expansion of the oil industry in the United States caused the production to more than match the production of the rest of the world. Petroleum became the leading fuel in the United States. History.com puts it greatly. Increasing sales of gasoline, first for the automobile and then for airplanes in the early 1900s, came as oil discoveries across the United States mounted. The oil industry had a vast new market for what had been for many years a useless byproduct of the distilling process. As soon as the internal combustion engine created demand, refiners sought better methods to produce and improve gasoline. In comparison to coal, petroleum was superior in almost every aspect. It's cleaner, easier to transport, easier to refine, and more adaptive overall. With it too being inexpensive, it was the next step from coal and whale oil. With this new abundant supply of petroleum, more and more machines began to switch to oil power. Things such as oil-powered ships, trucks and tanks, and military airplanes in World War I provided the role of oil as not only a strategic energy source, but also a critical military asset. Although the first automobiles were created in the late 1800s, mass production of them did not begin until early 1900s, after oil became abundant. In 1899, 2,500 automobiles were produced in the United States. In 1913, the United States had produced 485,000 automobiles. The mass demand for petroleum products was bottlenecked by its means of transportation. A horse-drawn wagon carrying oil had its limits, so pipelines and railroads were used for long-distance transportation. This expanded both the oil industry as well as railroads. By 1907, petroleum asphalt outpaced natural asphalt because the demand for more high-quality roads expanded with the use of automobiles. The world began to spread out more. People began to move out of cities and suburbs began to form. On an individual level, the world got bigger. The ability to travel large distances became less of a dream and more of a necessity. New advancements led to more and more parts of petroleum to be used for an ever-growing list of products. One of these products single-handedly revolutionized the art of mass production: plastics. Plastics have entirely changed the way we live our lives. Chemist Leo Baekeland patented this new supermaterial in 1907, around the same time as petroleum was being transformed into asphalt. Plastic, formerly called Bakelite, aided in the mass demand for affordable consumer products. Because of how simply it could be mass-produced, it was perfect for the job. Plastics weren't the only advancement that came from a once seen as useless byproduct of petroleum. Medicine took a large step in the modern era once petroleum was used as its base. Nearly 99% of all modern pharmaceuticals are made using petrochemicals, derived from petroleum. Medicines such as aspirin, cancer-fighting drugs, penicillin, antihistamines, antidepressants, and many, many more are made using these petrochemicals. With this new medicine, many people began to live longer, and with the increased availability for long-distance transportation, the world was growing and the entire way people lived their lives began to shift. This was a time of advancement in industry. Unfortunately, every coin has two sides. With the world evolving, some things can't change fast enough to keep up. With an ever-growing demand for petroleum, it is only natural that oil spills would result. The Atlantic Express oil spill of 1979 and the Persian Gulf War oil spill of 1991 are just two examples of spills that release hundreds of millions of gallons of oil into the environment, destroying ecosystems and killing an unfathomable number of animals. The constant use and burning of petroleum and its byproducts result in an astronomical amount of air pollution. In 2022, the United States alone emitted 66 million tons of air pollution. Air pollution can reduce the yield of crops, reduce growth in new forests, increase plant susceptibility for disease, create acid rain, and even destroy the ozone layer, which protects the Earth from radiation from the sun. On a personal level, pollution can cause heart disease, lung cancer, and other respiratory diseases. It can damage nerves, kidneys, livers, and other organs. For humanity to take the next step in industrialization and convenience, we took a huge step backwards in environmental and individual preservation. No matter where you look, petroleum is the basis of all parts of our lives. From the plastic bowl you ate your cereal in this morning, to the medicine you take to keep you healthy. From the gasoline in your car, to the roads you took to get here, petroleum is connected to every single aspect of your lives. It built the foundation of the United States, changed the course of war, and advanced the worlds of medicine and engineering. It created marvelous elevations for the human race, and yet established detrimental issues to the world as a whole. From the good to the bad, the mass demand of petroleum has changed the course of history, and it all started in a small town in western Texas, Spindletop.